they're up to, except I'll tell you, this is Francis Wong, Erika Oba, Trinidad, Carrie Jahde, how do you pronounce it? Jahde, and Helen Palma, and that's our cast of characters. This is all derives from Glenn Horiuchi, but you'll hear all about that. And we're streamed to the world, so if anybody knows somebody at home who wants to see this, you can text them and they can see it by going to our website and find your way there, or you can tell them to watch it later. It stays up on the YouTube channel and the Facebook page. All right. Thank you. Let me get back there by the board before you start.
Okay, sure.
All right.
Yeah, another hand for Eric, Bird Beckett. And also we're thankful for the words all over and the pictures all over this bookstore. So it's such a pleasure and an honor to always be back here. And, you know, what better combination? Bird, Charlie Parker, and Samuel Beckett. Modern theater, right? We'll try to follow in that tradition tonight. So, yes, this is a celebration concert for the launch of the CD called Zen of Glenn. And this is for the late composer and activist and dear friend, Glenn Horiuchi. And I do want to recognize that Glenn's family is here. Edna Horiuchi, Kenzo Horiuchi, and of course we always want to acknowledge the presence of our dear friend and pianist and composer John Jang. Because without any of these characters, we wouldn't really have the music that we do have. So yeah, for the music. More applause. I guess maybe I'm losing my touch as a protest agitator.
Never.
So yeah, so we have have excavated Glenn Horiuchi's scores and arranged them for this ensemble, and as a way to preserve the energy, spirit, and deeds of Glenn. So I think over the course of the evening we'll talk more about Glenn, but his music really tells the story, and with each of our performances we'll have something to say about, you know, the social context and, you know, where does the music come from. Before we start, Chris, do you want to have something to say?
Sure. Well, thank you everybody for making it out this evening, and thank you for your presence and your participation as part of this. You know, music needs ears too. Music needs people to hear it, not just the music makers. And I want to especially thank Francis for his partnership, especially over the last couple of years. He's been a wonderful collaborator. Yeah, Francis Wong. And for somebody like myself, just speaking for myself as somebody who's a first-generation Filipino-Canadian, we were joking earlier, said, yeah, my fees are going up 25% tonight, just in case we didn't know. So no charging tariffs here. But all jokes aside, you know, just being a Filipino-Canadian first generation and not really knowing about the history, the really rich history that we have of Asian American improvisation, Asian American music that sprouted here in the Bay Area. So, you know, when I moved down here and a couple of years ago, and I had a chance to meet Francis and Ernest, it was a revelation, and really changed the trajectory of my playing, my conception of music, and so it was very, very much a transformative experience. So I feel very blessed to be able to do this alongside Erika, and alongside Carrie, and alongside Helen as well. So thank you for being here. We're looking forward to having a lot of fun tonight. And if you are interested, we do have CDs for sale. There's the sales pitch. It's just right around the corner there. And there's some nice little tidbits in there for you. We wrote some liner notes, and there's some artwork by the wonderful artist Katie Kwan, and my friend PJ Martin as well. So, but anyway, without further ado, I guess we'll get to the music, and I guess we'll start off with this first tune, Mochi Groove. But maybe, Francis, you can tell us a little bit about what this tune is all about.
Okay, how many folks out there know what mochi is? Almost everybody. But what you may not know is that the traditional way of making mochi is you cook the rice, and it's pounded into a dough that they use to make you can make soup. You can make manju. I mean, kind of sweet. What do you call it? Confections. And so, but the trick in the pounding is the rhythm, because you have two people pounding at once, and then you have a person turning over the dough in what's called the usu. And so if someone isn't quite in time, you might end up with some extra elements in the dough, because people can get injured. So what Glenn did was he wanted to memorialize the rhythm that can guide the pounding, and so he wrote this piece called Mochi Groove. But also part of it was to recognize these, I don't know, sensory aspects of being Japanese American, and that there's all the history, there's all the stories, but then there's the taste and the smell of the rice, and the taste of eating the mochi, and how that's usually it's part of the New Year's celebration. So. Next up. We there? No, not yet.
You want this one, Francis?
Well, we'll need this one anyway.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
Sorry, what? Oh, yeah, sorry. People are giving me money.
Oh, that's very important.
Oh, now we can hear you. The money healed it.
Yeah, that's right. Especially since, just make sure they're doing the value-added tax for the Canadian in the band. So we're going to bring up Helen Palma and to sing a song by that. Glenn is known mostly for his instrumental music, but he did write some songs. And really, because he was a writer, he wrote poetry, and he was a very articulate person, and so he wrote this song called "Dream Waters," which is a reflection of sitting on the beach and I guess meditating on the beauty of life. Maybe also sometimes we think about it in terms of that we Asians coming to this country, that we came from across the water. So, Dream Waters. Helen Palma.
Is that a good height for you?
Yeah, that'd work.
Yes.
Sea rushing past my feet, I see beyond your shores, where skies that waters meet. I see an open door, where hope burns bright, so bright, dream waters flow, so free. And every night, dream waters call me, as night returns today, and seagulls culminate. I slowly walk away, but still my dream remains, where hope burns bright, so bright, dream waters flow, so free. And every night, dream waters call me. Where hope burns bright, so bright, dream waters flow, so free, and every night, dream waters call me. See as it pass my feet, I see beyond your shores, where all the seas and all the skies and all the waters meet, where all the seas and all the skies and all the waters meet. I see beyond your shores. I see an open door. I see an open door. I see an open door. I see, I see, I see, I see an open
Helen Palma!
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Head out, maybe.
All right, so Dream Waters. Yeah, another hand for that one. Also want to recognize another dear friend, was a mutual friend with Glenn, is the one of the organizers behind Concepts Cultural Gallery, and also in our ear every Saturday on KPFA, Art Sato. So if you want to hear how we're keeping up the fight, keeping up the spirit, listen to Art's show every Saturday. Yeah, you can applaud. This is not meant to be a quiet concert. So we're going to continue with this piece called Getting Together. And Glenn was part of, I guess, historically speaking, we would call it the New Left, which of course it's 50 years ago or 4 years ago. But, we were both activists in the movement at the time as really kind of the emergence of a new radical Asian American political identity. And so oftentimes our pieces that's what we try to leave that behind as part of that it happened, that our history cannot be erased because we have strong music. So, yeah, you can applaud. I'm working on my act up here, so. So this piece, Getting Together, refers to, there was a newspaper, radical Asian American newspaper called Getting Together, which was the newspaper put out by this group called Ewar Kuhn. So you can Google that later. So anyway, but the thing is that Glenn had a sense of humor and quirkiness, and so oftentimes our approach to radicalism had a lot of kind of, good-naturedness. And so you can hear in this piece, it doesn't sound like this radical anthem, but kind of I don't know, it seems like a ode to creativity and the fact that we are in the process of creating a vision for a new society. But we can laugh too. Erika Oba on the piano. Carrie Jahde on the drums. So we're going to continue our journey to revolution with humor with a piece another song that Glenn wrote. I mean, he wrote the lyrics and the music, and it's called "Tear Dem Walls." I think that kind of speaks for itself, right? So let's bring Helen Palma back up. Maybe that'll be a new hashtag these days.
Tear them walls, freedom's on the way. Look out, don't stop, let's go. All I wanna do is tell you things, they are a-changin'. Tear them walls, freedom's on the way. Look out, don't stop, let's go. All I wanna do is tell you what the folks are saying. All day long, all they do is squeeze your life away. They're holding you down just to make their money and make their money. But someday we'll take it, there's no way they'd make it. Tear them walls, freedom's on the way. Look out, don't stop, let's go. All I wanna do is tell you mountain tops are changing. Ba-dee-ba-dee-da-da, ba-dee-ba. Ba-dee-ba-dee-da, ba-dee-ba. Ba-dee-ba-dee-ba-dee-ba-dee-da, ba-dee-da, ba-dee-ba. Ba-dee-ba-dee, ba-dee, da-dee-ba-dee-ba-ba. Ba-dee-ba-dee-ba, do-da, do-dee. Ba-dee-ba-dee-ba-dee-ba-dee, ba-dee-ba-dee-ba-dee-ba-dee-ba, ba-dee-ba-dee-da. Ba-doo-dee-doo. Ba-dee-ba-dee-ba-dee-da, dee-dee-ba-dee-ba-dee-da. Ba-dee-ba-dee-da-dee-da, ba-dee-ba-dee-ba-dee-da, ba-dee-ba-dee-ba-dee-ba-dee-ba-dee-da. Ba-doo-ba-dee-da, ba-dee-ba-dee-dee-da-dee-da, ba-da-ba-da, ba-dee-ba-dee-bee-bee. All I wanna do is tell you mountain tops are changing. Tear them walls. Freedom's on the way. Look out. Don't stop. Let's go. All I wanna do is tell you things they are a changin'. Tear them walls. Freedom's on the way. Look out. Don't stop. Let's go. All I wanna do is tell you what the folks are saying. All day long, all they do is squeeze your life away. They're holding you down just to make their money and make their money. But someday we'll take it. There's no way they'd make it. Tear them walls. Freedom's on the way. Look out. Don't stop. Let's go. All I wanna do is tell you mountain tops are changing.
Helen Palma! I think it might be time for a little bit of Asian improv. So tell me, Erika, after hearing that song, what are we going to do?
Tear them walls.
Why are we going to tear the walls?
Because things there are changing.
Wow. I think I feel very confident in the next generation. Are people going, I mean, what are they trying to make people go after?
I didn't retain all of it.
The money. They want to make people go after the money, and then that's all it is. But then there's a very key lyric where it says, they're not going to make it. So I think Glenn was trying to put forward this idea about some of us use the term false consciousness. Okay, so well, that's the lesson. That's the lesson for today. Remember, we're getting paid. We're gonna end the set with a piece called Oxnard Beat, and Oxnard, if you don't know, is this. It's in it's kind of roughly an hour and a half north of Los Angeles, and Oxnard was really it was important for a lot of reasons, but the reason that the historical fact that Glenn wanted to memorialize that there was a beet, it was a strike by the sugar beet workers there. And what was historic about it, it was one of the early examples of multinational solidarity, because the Japanese workers and the Mexican workers formed struck together to get a contract. But also, unfortunately, the AFL was not the AFL-CIO yet, and Samuel Gompers didn't want people of color in his union. So it was kind of it's one of those things where it's, I guess a lot of what we're engaging in is futurism in our work. So that's one thing I learned from Erika's master's thesis is why do we make this crazy music? And she said in there, as I said, because we can make a world with the tools that we're given. Yes. Yeah, let's. So, of course, the other part is that without Glenn would not do things without there being maybe a humorous part. So he called it Oxnard Beat because there's he combined shamisen rhythm, Japanese folk rhythm, with a kind of I guess we call it a wahira, right?
Wahira, yeah, that's right.
Or more popularly known sometimes as cha-cha-cha. So anyway, here we go. A little more Asian improv from Chris Trinidad here.
Tell them about the story of the chopsticks, yeah.
So there's a lineage in the Asian improv tradition that somewhat was started in Glenn's band on the album Issei Spirit, in which Taiji Miyagawa would play his bass solo with a chopstick. And so, in order to be part of the lineage, Mr. Trinidad has to be put through his paces by showing his expertise with the chopstick on the bass. Thusly, Chris Trinidad has brought the tradition into the 21st century. I think I heard a little of Jay Dillon in there someplace.
Maybe. Maybe a little Michael Jackson. A little Smooth Criminal.
Of course, we have to pay extra for that because that's the Canadian version. Okay, we're going to take a break now, but before we do that, let's give a hand to Helen Palma. Erika Oba. Carrie Jahde. Chris Trinidad. My name is Francis Wong. And yeah, let's take a little break, check out some words. You know, also let's just enjoy. This is International Working Women's Day.
Indeed. And we have CDs. We have CDs. If you want to take them home, if you have a CD player.
Or if you have eyes.
Yeah, if you have eyes. Nice job, everybody. That was fun. Right on. Yeah. Sorry about the A, B, A, B, 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 A.
Oh, everything it's all working out here.
With all-
Thanks for all the eye contact.
Yeah.
Like, we're going down. And nice job.
Oh, well.
Yeah, nice job. Filled up. People showed up.
Nice spot, Rick.
Yeah. I don't know. I was just putting you on the spot. That's improv. That's improv for you.
Preparation. Oh, here we go.
Next time.
You got 2 out of 3.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But I'll look at the same bit, then I'll look for
There you go.
Because you know the space is kind of actually working out.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
have my back to you.
Is it okay with my bass is okay? Level-wise? Okay. All right. Okay.
Feel like
I should eat
sometimes drummers are, less sensitive than keyboards.
Yeah, maybe.
No, the bell's fine.
Yeah. I'm okay for now.
I'm okay for now.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, that's so sweet. Oh my gosh.
Hi, Joyce.
Let it loose. Oh.
What's it about? Oh, let me get the picture. So, like, Patrick, nice to meet you too. How did you hear about this? Oh, cool. He's a teacher. Okay. Are you from South Carolina? Stanford. Fantastic. Okay. Do you know Marie Rose? Yeah, she was. Yeah. Yeah. My wife was never That's great. So are you majoring in music? Okay. Yeah, all together. Yeah.
CD before.
Oh, yeah. I actually talked to some musicians who tried to get
She's
in
like the
on
Asian improv.
Take old fashioned.
the jazz workshop has been basic.
Francis ever showing you Glenn's album? I wrote the line.
Yeah, yeah.
I listened to me.
There we go.
Now you got something coming up at
Church well.
but I will. Yeah. Stop at no, you were.
What he said. Yeah. There's so much. I just saw that stuff and then how much Walsh is now.
Right. But Oakland, even though it's a big store,
Tempting not for sale. You can buy congratulations. Fill up.
There you go.
I brought a piano. My wife.
Right on. Well, if you are free for some Francis and I, so Bob, right?
Oh yeah, that should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we have to do the parade.
Yeah, right.
I also interacted with the Japanese American historical.
We brought that up and then unloaded it on the
Doing the Japanese Caribbean.
now you have to do walking out and have it. Maybe it's a male. I mean, we have women not to Margaret show. 1990.
very fancy house. Go by there.
But I'm just saying,
First house that we did, Sullivan House. Very special.
yeah, you have you seen Glen Park? Oh, that's where you have this heritage from really feeling. He's really. I mean, if you meet and then
Bucket link fence.
he told me what would be wrong with me doing it.
Oh, dance was like
We have to take turns. Martial arts. Because it's all gonna crack.
but the thing is that the class is super and instructional women. We have Redwood, we took up the
Oh, yeah, you know,
and went down there and the subfloor, which
said, well, let's look it up. And there are popular
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. We were able to find it with I'll find a couple of beginners. Oh, yeah, and then when Neil gets back out there, he'll tell you. Yeah,
Wonderful,
yeah, second too.
Nick.
I discovered that being sad. Yeah, yeah. Being sad, being mourning, weeping style.
Are you a San Francisco-based musician? Okay. Yeah.
I'm doing better. I mean, I'm learning to walk. There's music next year.
Do you play with this? Oh, nice. Listen always out there? Yeah. You gotta like move around a lot. So, how long have you been playing?
Two.
I was able to call anybody until late in the day.
Hey, Rupa!
My wife was there.
Thanks for coming down. Yeah.
Hi, thanks for coming.
Oh, oh yeah, yeah, right, right, right.
Can I try? Is it on right now? Make it a tiny bit more. Just like a little bit more. Thank you.
And we're back.
All right. Places.
Yeah, places, right?
So there are some seats that were never occupied. Feel free to, take seats if you haven't got one.
That's right. You may want to sit down once you start hearing some of this. So we're gonna move along in kind of the historical journey on Glenn's music, and I think we're at the end of the 80s. So Glenn was born in Chicago, and hello?
Yes.
Okay. So Glenn was born in Chicago, and actually always had kind of an affinity to that, and it also is part of that story of that Japanese Americans who were in the concentration camps. There was an opportunity to leave the camps if they left the West Coast or left the Western region. And a fair number of people went to Chicago. I don't know, was that 44 or something like that? And actually, it was a very interesting cultural outcome of that migration, because a lot of our artists from the Japanese American community ended up, because they were in the Midwest, they could go to school and go to some of the art schools and architecture schools. So like folks like, there's the Ruth Asawa High School for the Arts, and folks were able to go to places like Cranbrook and wherever. And so, and also, I think, was the interface with more of a black music, and so I know Glenn's aunt and uncle, Bert Nakano and Lillian Nakano, I remember they told us that when they were living in Chicago, they got to go to the South Side and got to hear the music, and so also, I mean, all due respect to Los Angeles, but Chicago is a big city. And so that urban thing, especially, at that time, the 40s and 50s. And so there was a lot of the kind of urban culture, and including, well, because, like talked about jazz, and then also there was a presence for organized crime. And so there's kind of different legends of characters in Chicago in the post-war period, and so one of the things that Glenn adopted in his style was, you can see on the cover for the CD, he really liked to wear that fedora. Different color, but a little bit like art there. It's very cool. And then also the long black trench coat. And so he wrote a piece to kind of dedicated to that aesthetic, Dance for a Nisei Hipster. And we're updating it a little bit with, actually, Erika's going to play the melodica. And I don't know, has anybody ever seen this TV program called The Midnight Diner?
Yeah.
And so some of the vibe of that post-war, thing in Tokyo is the accordion. Well, actually, even before, like the 30s and all. So we kind of brought a little bit of that immigrant culture with approximated with the sound of the melodica. So we got blues, and we got the melodica, and we've got actually the first half of it is kind of like more of a blues, and then the second half of the song is actually based on ondo, which is a street dance in Japanese community. Here we go. Sometimes I'm described by some of my friends as a professor in search of a classroom. So we're going to continue with piece that, in some ways, is one of the pieces that we played throughout Glenn's career, and it was called. We're doing. Was it? Oh, Heart Place. Oh, okay. Oh, hey. Oh, that's next in the chronology. Oh, yeah, we're doing Heart Place, right? Okay, so, so actually, one of the things that was a marker in Glenn's life and career was his pursuit of the teachings of the Kwanum school of Zen, the Korean school, and his, I guess, in kind of moving on from some of the political organizing was kind of more this organizing on the spiritual level. And so this piece was part of a record that we did in the 90s, I think 93, that was in part was a response to the killing in Stockton of a lot of mainly Southeast Asian immigrants in one of the kind of was a mass shooting basically, and so this part of the album was called Heart Place because it was in some ways a meditation also on the Heart Sutra, so.
I'd like to dedicate this to my niece and goddaughter who's watching in Canada right now, in Vancouver. Yeah, she's 10 years old. And so she said, "Hey, Ninong," which is Godfather in Tagalog, said, "Can you give me a shout out?" So here's her shout out, Karis. Ninong loves you. All right.
So one of the things that
What was the title of that?
that was Heart Place.
Heart Place?
Yeah. So it's from that album, Culling Is It and Now. The one with the cover that's we used the photo that Edna took of Glenn. That was the cover of that one. So it was yeah. Okay, so we're going to continue with this piece called Issei Spirit. So a lot of emphasis in the movement, particularly around the Sansei, third generation, was actually raising up, elevating the role of the first generation of immigrants who were called the Issei. And I think, you know, of course, it's important to recognize the role of immigrants in the making of our society, and then also there was a very radical tradition among the Isseis as well. So we would record. Glenn recorded this. I think there's at least 2 recordings of this. One on the early record called Issei Spirit, which was a vinyl, and then later on, then we made a record. I think it was on Dewdrop or something like that, which was a later album, which is like, so that would be 1995. So for those of you who are counting. we're going to close out the concert that combining some of Glenn's writings on Zen in that were collected and self-published by Edna, called the Zen of Glenn. So we selected certain passages from the text, and we put it together with kind of another of Glenn's signature pieces called Dewdrop, which is a meditation on impermanence. Particularly talking, I guess some of the inspiration was the life of a drop of dew in the desert during the incarceration of Japanese Americans. And of course, the idea of impermanence was of great importance and also of great comfort in his life. So we're going to bring Helen back up. So Chris is going to read Glenn's text, and then there's a dedication that was in the writings, which comes from Glenn's sister, and so Helen's going to read that part. So let's give another hand for Helen. That's warming up.
This life is so very short and precious. This is particularly clear to me in my battle with cancer. But everyone on this list must face death, and perhaps sooner than later. There's no need to trade places with me. We're all in the same boat. So how long are we going to go around living in a dream, controlled by our desires and delusions, and following our opinions? Must we all wait for a life-threatening illness? Before we answer this question, what am I? And when we leave the planet, we take nothing with us. All our prized possessions, ideas, approval of others will be gone. So why not live our lives now? Let go of all your opinions, your condition, your situation. Just let it all go and embrace the moment as it is, with nothing added. Then our life and actions become clean. We will not have lived this precious life in vain. learning to be alone is very important. I've been fortunate to have been very isolated as a child, so I learned that lesson early. First, I was Japanese in all white neighborhoods and schools. I made some friends, but hostility and isolation were always present as well. Then I became asthmatic and was told not to engage in physical play. And for a little boy, physical play is the primary means of socialization. So I used to spend recess and phys ed sitting under trees, just watching the leaves rustle in the wind. So maybe this laid the foundation for my sitting practice now. Let me try to clarify a little about cone practice, as I understand it. Cones are not special. They're simply another part of our formal Zen practice, like sitting, eating, bowing. And one way to look at these forms is that they create a simplified space for us to practice and be. Sometimes in the midst of our day-to-day lives, it is difficult to bend with the wind like bamboo. And sometimes we feel more like a paper kite in a storm, tossed and turned, at the verge of shredding into little pieces. So formal practice provides a little easier context, though sometimes it seems pretty hard, in which our center can get stronger. In this light, cones are only very simple situations which demand our response. Explanations are not an answer to the cone.
many hats. He was a husband and father, a music instructor, a community activist, a jazz musician and composer, a Zen teacher, film scorer, and a shamisen apprentice. He wore all his hats with enthusiasm and dedication, with the desire to challenge himself and the ability to charm his audience. Glenn remained true to his music, committed to his vision of expressing his ideas and feelings through his compositions. He was passionate about the hardships of working class people, the struggle against racism, his ties to the Japanese American culture and community, and his love for his family. His sense of fun, many silly moments, and that unique laugh will be painfully missed. As a child, he would often say, "I'm waiting for the Martians to take me to outer space, so be nice to me or I won't take you with me." Whether in outer space or in heaven, Glenn will see you again, as our friend, as our teacher, as our husband, as our father, as our son, as our nephew, as our cousin, as our brother. We'll see you again, and it will be sweet.
And that's it for tonight. But before we do that, why don't we say yay for Helen Palma, Erika Oba, Carrie Jahde, Chris Trinidad,
And Francis Wong. Francis Wong.
Any lasting words, Chris?
Also, thank you to Bird Beckett and Eric for hosting us this evening. Yes. A real jewel here in the city. Thank you, Eric, for your steadfast commitment to creative and improvised music and hosting this beautiful, beautiful space. You know, the bookstores like these are gems, and we ought to support them, right? You know.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Thank you, Eric.
Erika has something to say, too, about something that's coming up.
This band will be playing this music again at Oaktown Jazz Workshops at the end of June. So if you'd like to come, please keep an eye out for that.
I guess that's it, folks. Thank you so much. You want to take us home with you? Buy a CD. Thank you. Oh, photo, band photo, band photo. Come on up, band photo. Yeah. Oh, sure. Yeah. That's what I was supposed to send to you. It wasn't the track. I was like,